Live in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is the number 72nd episode of the Cyberpunk Community Podcast. How is everybody doing? And I hope there's no pathological liars sitting around here today, because that would just be unhealthy. You know, this would be so unhealthy for you know, I once looked, you know, I have a confession to make. I was at the Costco the other day grabbing a hot dog, and I said, "Hey, please pass the ketchup," and I meant mustard. Then I said mustard, and the attendant behind the screen just started screaming at me, "You're a pathological liar!" Because I meant one thing when you know it was the other thing. Actually, I wanted both of them. I just asked for them in the wrong sequence of requests. So small things like that. Small
Did you
things
get kicked
like
out?
That.
Were you escorted out of the premises?
I was starting to think that I might, but then the manager walked over and then looked at him, and he just rolled his eyes and just kept on walking. So I mean, I guess that would probably be the most anybody should get upset about that is just kind of roll your eyes for a half second, then move on, because that's how that goes. Today we will. I do want to say that today, though, we will absolutely not be having any kind of a Q&A. If you ask questions, we may answer them, thus developing into what I assume would probably be called a Q&A. I love how people just take this garbage and just run to the absolute extreme. Oh, Lord. Anyways, we are joined today with the Madqueen Show. How are you doing?
Exactly.
I love doing this when you're laughing, because I know how hard it is for you to speak when you're laughing this hard. So
I didn't expect this beginning from you. It totally caught me out of guard.
Turn it up a notch.
NeonArcade, how are you?
Yo, I'm good. Yeah, definitely not a Q&A. Some people in chat are super confused right now. So if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't need to know.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you don't need to worry too much about it. Well, I'll explain it very briefly. LastKnownMeal is unfortunately out. He's taking a break today. It is a hot one right now in a number of places in the world, and a break is probably warranted. Dude, never burn out, because it's not a good thing. Yeah. So, my goodness. So the Night City Live episode 2 was on Monday. We had a lot of great stuff kind of showcased. Then following that, we had there was kind of like this impromptu kind of like interaction with a couple of the devs and some of the PR people on the Discord. They were just kind of in there doing stuff. They said this is not a Q&A before they started, and then it very quickly devolved into a Q&A where people asked questions and then the devs answered them. So not officially a Q&A, but there was this weird thing that happened where people asked questions and then the devs answered them. So I don't know what you call that, but yeah.
I'm not sure, but let me try here. You know that English is my third language, so I may use the wrong word in here, but isn't that called the Q&A?
I do believe that it is typically called a Q&A, and again, they didn't mean for it to turn into that. And I mean, I've had that happen a couple of times doing big events, where it's like, we don't mean this to turn into one thing, but then it does, just because that's the way that the everybody in the audience happened to be behaving at that particular moment, and that was what predominantly people were interested in. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like not what you wanted, and later on you kind of look back on it in some very small cases, you go, oh man, I probably shouldn't have done it like that, because it was came out kind of weird. But I mean, that's doing stuff live. Like, yeah, that's the live world for you.
I'm curious as to what we should actually be calling it for people who don't think this is a Q&A. What should we call it?
Moontag had a beautiful response. She suggests that this should be called the inquiry and response.
Oh.
Yes.
Very posh.
Yes, the inquiry and response, and perhaps we should get some tea and sit down with our little, some top hats and go, yes, Yes, yes. You got to do lots of and then yeses because that's typically the way you go. And every once in a while, you want to go. I was going to do a Key and Peele thing, but I forgot I forgot what they did, how exactly they said it. So I'm not going to try because I don't want to butcher two artists like that. So yeah, the ever joys of having some significant back and forth. It was fairly informative. We didn't really get anything that we didn't super know beforehand, right?
Now, do you mind if I interrupt this?
Yeah, go ahead. To
say the thing that I wanted to say at the beginning, before you started with your explosive beginning. So, some of you may have encountered on the Twitter and Instagram fake accounts that pretend to be the official Cyberpunk 2077 account from CD Projekt Red. And they very cheaply try to use the yellow template that the Red uses to announce delays. And as we are so close to the 91-day mark and people is getting anxious, some people with way too time on their hands created a fake delay announcement from CD Projekt Red. Some of you have seen them. They were reported and taken down. Some of you may have not, but if you hear the rumor that the Projekt Red announced a delay, if it's not on their official Twitter, the one that has the blue mark, meaning that is the real one, it's not a thing. So if you hear the rumor that, there's a rumor about a delay, bullshit. At this point, bullshit.
Yeah.
I informed to you so you don't fall for that.
Also, continuing on with that PSA, there was a fellow in our Discord yesterday who was so happy that he got a beta invite, and all he had to do was give the representative, somebody was claiming to be the representative, his social insurance number and his credit card number. So, there's that. So, if you're really excited for those, for that really awesome beta experience that you're going to get,
please tell me
don't do that. Don't do that. No.
Okay.
He did do a pretty good joke about it, but no. Just so, once again, a reminder for everybody: there is no beta, there is no demo, there is no early access. Anybody selling you, and I'm shocked. I did a quick search just to kind of see if this had died down, right? With all of the people coming out and saying, no, this is fake. Don't fall for it. This is a complete scam. Do not do this. I logged on. I saw there was dozens of people still offering this from extremely shady places. And some of them were like, hey, we know that there's been an announcement about that there isn't any beta, but trust us, there is a super secret beta, and you can get access to it for only $15. It's like, wow. The people who fall for that, just wow.
Yeah.
It's like
$15 a AAA game before release. Well, that's a steal, literally.
Yeah. It literally is a steal. It's kind of like those robocall. Well, it's not even robocalls. It's like you get called by somebody. It's a robocall at first, and they're like, this is the local law enforcement or government office number. It's like your social insurance number has been compromised, and you are now you're going to be arrested if you don't pay this fine, and. Yeah, that's a terrible scam, and I don't understand how it's not how they don't ruthlessly go after those people who do that, because that is.
There was an even worse scam here in Spain, where I believe it happened when you visited a webpage that was infected, and you had the warning that they recorded you watching child porn. And if you didn't pay a fine, the police was gonna go for you.
Yeah.
And some people paid.
Yeah. No, it's shocking to me how many people fall for it. Well, it's not shocking because
you know that you've not been watching certain kind of content.
Well, no, not really.
You're just outing yourself there.
Well, yeah.
If you pay, it's outing yourself.
I'm sure that there's a handful of people who do that, but then there's a lot of other people that when somebody calls and says, hey, you owe this bill. There was another one a little while ago where it was like somebody pretending to be from Google would like literally walk into businesses and say, hey, I'm here to collect your like Google Maps fee. And they would like had a binder or like a tablet full of like it was like a really nice presentation of like, and this allows you to get like suggested more on the thing. Total BS. That's not how that works at all. You like, not at all. Like, you don't arrive and show up on Google Maps just because you pay something. Like your address just shows up there. And they're like showing all these like pictures of like that people take, just regular old people just take of like businesses and stuff, or like restaurants that take pictures of their food, and then they'll post it up there just so people can kind of like peruse through what all these people have. And this guy, just a smooth talker, walks in and talks people up to buying this exposure ad for their business for like $2,000 in cash. And I'm like,
in cash? Jeez.
Yeah, in cash. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Cash? Who has $2,000 in cash?
Oh, most businesses have $2,000 in cash on the premises. Easily. So, but it's just shocking to me that people like would do this and just pay this out, like just because again they don't know any better, or they just assume that it's easier to pay the thing than not have to pay the thing too.
Yeah, I feel like as content creators, we're kind of immune to all these scams. How many emails do you guys get per day that are just scams? Like you've won $5 million. Please claim it. Click this link. Click that link.
Yeah.
Like it just gets annoying after a while.
Well, we had a lot of those people that were requesting for us to like try and upsell like some kind of like VPN thing.
VPN, yeah, those are popular. Yeah.
Or like, but it was a fake VPN. It was just a Trojan file that you downloaded onto your computer that stole all your passwords and then gave them over to them so that they could then take your channel.
Oh yeah.
And that was like super crazy for a while. Mm-hmm. And I always responded to these emails trying to get them to like, my goal was to have like make a video out of it, of like the crazy things that they would agree to. Usually be like, yeah, we don't need that for our channel, but I'm starting up a new channel where it's a medical channel where we track the digestive system of cattle. Can your program hook up to a mobile camera that's passed through the gut of a bovine? Trying to use like real scientific wording. Basically, I wanted them to say yes, that they can film cow poop. That's what I was trying to get them to say, but they would always, like, as soon as they realize that you're kind of like, you're just screwing with them, they just stop responding, and it's like, oh man, because it's so fun to just screw with them so much. But
well, when you're on this side of YouTube, it's not only the scams, it's also the stupid proposals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of shit in the mail, in the inbox. I don't know if you guys also have it, but
Oh yeah.
I believe that my favorite was this business in China that I believe that you also got it, trying to convince me to promote pirated merchandise of Cyberpunk 2077. Like
Yeah. Oh, we got a ton of those for Fallout. There's like tons and tons of like rip-off merchandise for Fallout.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, talk about our products and we'll send you money. And I talked to one guy who did do that, and he said he never got a penny from them. It's like he did the whole thing. He put it up on his channel, and they never ever paid him back for it, and he ended up having to like take the video down. So.
Didn't someone steal Southern Locust's design? His T-shirt design? I saw that on Twitter.
Yes.
I think you posted that, right?
Yes.
He just uploaded.
And not only one place, several places.
Damn. Yeah. By the way, happy.
And he was super sad because he doesn't even own the design. It was a parody.
Yeah, but it had his name under it, right? It said designed by Southern Locust. Did he remove that part?
No.
Oh, he kept it on?
Yes.
Talk about lazy, jeez.
Yeah, because he uploaded the design with this, and I did a shirt with it for myself for wearing it on the videos for the labs.
Yeah.
And it was stolen, and it's been uploaded to several web pages that send shirts. And he felt super bad because the original is not his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
there's absolutely nothing he can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways,
Ape is so lazy. It's free advertising for him. In the end.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
that is kind of helpful. So yes, just as a general reminder, everybody, please be careful when you're responding to like this kind of stuff, and make sure that you're listening to like official sources and confirmed places. Even though sometimes even then you have to be careful. You remember there was that big hack a little while ago, and a certain ex-president was trying to get me to send him $1,000 in Bitcoin. Oh, that stuff like that. You just again double check everything and don't believe the first thing you see typically. So, no, there is no delay for Cyberpunk, and there is no beta. So, anyways,
Let's go to the wire.
yes, let's go to the wire. So, what was your guys' thoughts of the wire?
So we had the Life Path trailer, the weapons trailer, and we had the making of Samurai, right? As refused.
Yes.
I love the Life Path trailer. It made me change my mind yet again.
Oh
Like,
no!
I've changed my mind like 50 times. Now I'm back
What
to
are you
Street
doing
Kid.
now? Street
Just,
Kid?
yeah, I
Mhm.
just love that trailer so much.
I told
The
you.
music was, I love the music in the Street Kid one and the Corpo one. The Nomad one was okay, but those ones really stood out to me. And yeah, Street Kid, damn, Street Kid looks really good. So I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna go with Street Kid. I might change my mind again, but you never know.
You know that you don't need to play the game only once, right?
I know, but the first one has to be the most impactful, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be the one that
Yeah.
you really want, and if that's always changing, then it's hard to decide.
Yeah, the
So-
one that you're most connected to. So,
Mhm.
I would say that for sure. That your first one, you kind of want it to be your best, kind of like your best playthrough, and then kind of go from there. So,
Mhm. I think
So-
Nomad is interesting because like your character is visiting Night City for the first time, and you're also experiencing Night City for the first time. So that was like the only connection that I had with the Nomad,
mhm.
which would have been cool. But yeah, Street Kid definitely for me now.
So
Would be great. This I don't know. I know that what I'm going to say is really stupid, but it's really funny. It would be great if it had an option of a person who knows a lot about the law, person who doesn't know anything. And the level of interaction with the city is different.
That would be actually really cool. That would be a cool option.
mhm.
Impossible to implement. Not to
You mean-
mention that people usually want to believe they know everything, including me. So, but no, I know everything. I want this option. Like, then what the fuck is going on in here? I don't understand half of the things. And oh my god, in the corporate life path, that apart from seeing Saburo Arasaka, that was fantastic.
Mhm.
The textures of Yorinobu Arasaka, I was crying. He looks amazing. We already saw the character render, but the quality is like a third. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
Somehow I didn't
Yeah,
notice
no, it
that.
was really, really, really well done. I think what you see in that is that some of their like older characters that they designed early on, that they didn't go back and do a complete overhaul to, comparison to like some of the characters that they just more recently finished, or that was like kind of the end of their development line as far as like those renders go. That's where you see the massive improvements, right? Because the artists just get better and better and better as they're creating all the NPCs, and then some of them they can go back and redo, or the ones at the very end, they're the ones that end up looking the best.
Yeah, but we saw Yorinobu Arasaka, and I believe it was the previous Night City Wire that they released some character renders. That's
Yeah,
when we
they
learned he was on
sent-
the key.
They sent us those renders, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I saw him there, but the quality of the character compared to the one that appeared on corpo life path. The one in the corpo life. I mean the skin. The skin is so amazing.
Huh. Somehow I didn't notice that. I'm gonna have to go back and because it looked on par to the renders to me, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough.
Well, this particular one, maybe also because of the lighting that was on the sides, and when you light something from the sides, all the texture kind of pops up way more,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's fantastic.
yeah. Because there's a light in the background. The Arasaka logo is illuminated in the background, so I guess it shows.
Wow,
It
the
shines
lighting!
light.
Oh, this I
It's so
love this scene.
good.
I love this scene. It only made me think that I need this lighting to kill him because I know that he's going to be a problem. I don't trust Yorinobu Arasaka. Beware of the steel dragons.
Do
But
you
yeah,
trust
like
anybody though? I kind of low
Jackie,
key trust Jackie. Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah.
People on the official Discord of Cyberpunk say that I have something against Johnny Silverhand, and I am looking so forward that they discover what it is. Because people tend to associate him with the character of the usual character of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp? No, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves in films. If they didn't watch the Neo Demon, because in there Keanu Reeves, what a character they put. But it's like no, but Johnny Silverhand is a super good person. You'll see. You'll see. You'll play the game and you'll see. On the other hand, they said that your relationship with Johnny Silverhand was going to depend on your decisions, which is great. It's like in life. There are some people you like, and
Hmm.
a person next to you hates the same person because of the way you treat them and the way you treat the people on the surroundings. So depending on how you treat him, he's going to treat you differently.
Well, that's also tied to your life path, right? I can imagine him being super standoffish with you once you first get him, and you were an ex-corpo working at a corporation that he absolutely hates, right? If you're an Arasaka ex-corpo, he's probably not going to take too kindly to you in the beginning, at least.
This is one of the reasons why I'm really curious about the corporate path, because it's not in any corporation. It's in Arasaka.
Arasaka, yeah.
So the moment of introduction of Johnny Silverhand looks at you. Where do you work? Arasaka. No, I have to kill you, but I can't because I have no body. So he's going to try to push you off a cliff, try to convince you to poison your mind so you kill yourself, something like that.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm joking on the last part, but it's going to be fantastic to learn how Johnny reacts to you depending on who you are.
Hmm.
And he had the special relationships with Nomad, especially of the Aldecaldo clan family.
Right, who we saw a lot of in the trailers. There's a lot of Aldo Caldo branding on the clothing and even on the side of the car. I think their new logo is the antelope or something, right? So
It
they're
was like an animal skull or something like that.
yeah, yeah, but it looked like an antelope skeleton or whatever. And there was one on the side of the car, and then there was one on this one dude's pants. So I think
Yeah, in the Nomad driver, the
right,
woman that goes with him also
yeah,
was
yeah.
wearing a badge with the Aldecaldos logo. But
The
it seems
new
that all Nomads, except for the race, are going to be Aldecaldos.
hmm And I think it's someone in the previews mentioned the Snake Nation, but I don't know if that was just a context thing or they're actually going to be present. But at least we know we have Aldecados. That's cool.
I'm not expecting any other one of the nations, to be honest. And that
Hmm.
and that's fine, because I mean one thing is the nations, but then you can have like up to 1 million nomads of that nation, so you can have chorrocientos Aldecaldos everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Raffen, I want to meet the Raffen. But I don't know if it's, yeah, again, depending on what life path. If you're not a nomad, it's like, well, I heard stories about you, but if you're a nomad, it's very different how you take the Raffen, because they are the people who gave nomads a bad name.
Yeah.
So you have something personal against the Raffen.
Hmm. Well, you might also have something personal against your former clan, right? Because he rips off it's called the Backers or something. That's his little clan that he's abandoning. Because he mentions in the Life Path trailer that he's leaving his clan for Night City because there's infighting or something like that. So, are those part of the Aldecaldos, or is that separate or within? It's gonna be
No,
interesting.
I believe it's. I mean, the families form. separately to the nations. The nations are established, and you as a nomad can choose.
Right. So it's a family within the larger, all-encompassing nation.
Yeah, you choose what nation has the ideals and works towards the thing that you agree the most with. So it's like you put your family at their service, and that's when you become part of the nation.
Hmm.
And there are nomads that don't belong to any nation.
Right. Like the
They are,
Raph and Shiv, right? They're just outcasts. But now
no,
you're
the Raffin technically are a nation that nobody wants and everybody hates. But I mean, not all the nomads belong to any of the nations. Some are independent and they don't want to, give their allegiance to anyone.
sure. So maybe that's the player character, right? That would make sense.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see how do they develop this.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, the by far the like in the realm of like which story seems to be most interesting to me, definitely the Nomad is far more interesting because of all of the lore and all of the things that are happening outside of the actual like world, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
outside of the norm, and in comparison to like the street kid, where it's gonna, I mean, it's a street kid start. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a
Even their values are kind of polar opposite to
Mhm.
Street Kid and Corpo, who are just, trying to get out there and get their name out into the streets and, amass a certain fortune or whatever. Whereas Nomads are seem to be more family oriented and, just about the simple life.
Well, there's
Yeah.
the street kids as well. Whole street is my family.
That's true, but yeah. Yeah.
There's one thing that caught my attention about the nomads is that when Nomad V wants to go to Night City, he has to cross the border.
Hmm.
So you start as a nomad in South California
Yeah, that's true. I noticed that.
because
Yeah.
South California and North California were back in the day the free states of California, but then after the unification war, the south of California was reincorporated to the new United States. So now, if you want to get to Night City, you need to cross a border. And we could see that border in the trailer of The Life Path. So you start in South California. You don't start very, very, very far from Night City.
Hmm.
So how big are the Badlands?
Yeah, if it
Right.
spans two borders, that would be huge.
Hmm.
Because yeah, you have, in fact, sorry, in fact, the all the images about the maps that have been floating around and Night City before this, I don't know what they are, like small little constructions that seem like they're growing crops or something. I don't know.
I
That
think
is in the
they're
south. Sorry?
you're talking about the Biotechnica protein farms? I think that was in the lore book, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I believe that what you mean is what was on the east of Night City. I mean on the south.
Oh, okay.
So there's a thing in the south that is southern to Pacifica.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we saw in the B-roll a part of the gameplay that took place there. So this is also part of the map. Then, if the Nomad starts in South California, you have even more map in the south. Can you go there if you are not a nomad?
Maybe that's just for the prologue. I'm yeah, that would add a lot more space to the Badlands, presumably. I feel like that would probably just be part of the prologue though. You cross the border, right? I don't think you can come in and out.
I don't know. I
Uh,
don't know.
I kind of think you can, like, because there's a lot of like excursions out into those lands, and I think that should hopefully, I mean, it would be nice to just kind of go out there whenever you want and do stuff and find like a bunch of stuff out there to do. Because it's one thing to hunt like a cyber psycho in the city, it's another one entirely to hunt them out in the wild. Some might say it's the most dangerous game.
But yes, I thought the Raffen were in the north. because I don't remember why, but I saw some elements that made me believe that the Raffen were in the north. Then on a different state, in fact, even on a different country, because North California is its own country. You have more map. That's something I didn't expect. It. I thought that the Nomad camp of V would be closer to Night City.
And again that brings it back to why it's more interesting than all of the other stories, as far as like the story and the history in the world goes, because it's so interesting to kind of look at that kind of environment and go, I wonder what's going on there. I wonder like what kind of family they've left behind and what kind of interactions that they have and what's going on, because it's like so far we haven't seen any like actual family in the game, like a father, mother, brothers, sisters. Have we seen any of that at all?
We've seen
I can't think of any.
We've seen the like the campfire scene. We don't know if they're family or not, but there's a bunch of people gathered around a fire. I guess that's a good imagery for the family aspect of the Nomads.
Well, I meant all of the V paths. We haven't seen one.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, no, we haven't. Well, I mean, your family is presumably the Valentinos and the Street Kid option. I don't know if I'm going out on a limb saying that, because the fixer that you're connected to the most is Padre, right? And he grew up in Haywood, so. And the 6th Street guy doesn't seem like he likes you too much.
I missed one part because I lost the audio here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we're just trying to figure out, has V had any family shown off in any of the trailers or content yet?
Not that I know of.
So you're...
Well,
I think
the whole street is my family. Yeah, the Nomad family as well.
Yeah, but that's just... they're not actually blood family, right? That's just a saying.
Well, yeah.
No, I meant specifically like mother, father, brothers, sisters, that kind of thing.
But you have your idea what the word family means, and it's not always applicable in Cyberpunk 2077.
But I mean,
I'm saying biological family.
Yeah, like their mom or dad, and or how like because like, you know, in the Arasaka thing, I could see that being very like being an extremely complex situation, and also kind of like you know, V calls up mom, say, "Hey mom, yeah, I went on this thing and I got this weird chip thing," and she's like, "Oh, come home for supper, dear. We'll talk about it. I'll get our best doctor to check you out." And then you go there and there's a whole bunch of like security waiting for you, and she's like, "Well, you know, I do care about you, but Arasaka's bonus on your head was a lot of money, and I mean, you know, you got to think about these things. I'm getting a promotion out of this. Can't you be happy for me?" Like, that would just be crazy in the story, right? Like, that would legitimately be like really insane. The other thing would be kind of cool, and like, you know, going home to visit like a brother or a sister in like as a street kid. And it's like you could just check up on them and see what they're doing, and maybe he's got a kid sister who's trying to like, you know, go straight, and she's trying to get a job somewhere, and you just can pop in and see how she's doing and track her performance and kind of stuff, how that goes there. So it looks more interesting. Like, I mean, it looks really interesting as far as like from the outset. You can just kind of see exactly what's going on and all the different things that you can interact with that. Hopefully that's a thing, because I think that would be kind of cool, is if V had family that you could like check in on from time to time.
That's the thing. In the traditional sense of family doesn't exist anymore. The only ones that may have this traditional sense of family are the corporates, and probably is the son of corporates, because in certain position mean that you went to corporate school and corporate university, and you are this means that you are the descendant of corporates. But in this universe, this is not the only model of family that exists. The family of the Nomads is not composed of mom, dad, and sisters and brothers. It's an entirely different model of family. And the same if you are a street kid. is it that you are applying thoughts of all society to a future society that works completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, the concept of family has kind of expanded into whoever you come across that you can kind of trust, right? That's what you're referring to, or in the case of the corpos, your actual biological family, so you can pass down the power.
It's not that the traditional family doesn't exist anymore. It's that there are more models of family that are also family that doesn't have to be mother and father. Like for instance, the nomads.
Right.
And this is very very interesting how the this is something that I thought some time ago about the evolution of the model of family in futuristic dystopias like Cyberpunk 2077. Because, for instance, here in Spain, we had during the crisis, a lot of families had to share the apartments with people they didn't know, and then also family members that weren't direct, in a way that it composed a new form of family that was never thought of. Because usually we have this concept of family of mother, father, kids, or mother, mother, father, father. But I mean two people and then descendants.
Mm-hmm.
And the economical crisis in here, it was creating a model of family that was several people and kids. Also because this way they were economically more capable of taking care of kids. And this way I thought, well, then in the future, if we think about this, in the future, it's impossible that the family that went forward into the future to exist, the model of family was two people and then descendants. Not to mention that, as I said before, nomads already have a completely different concept of family. And the same way, if you live on the streets, you have a completely different concept of family. It's not whoever you get by you that you trust is a different thing. It's just that with time, society acquired new models of family that are not only the one that is normalized nowadays. So if you're thinking in the future, you're thinking about families, and you're thinking with the wrong concept in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that makes sense with all the different fragmented groups. It would have, you'd have to adjust by having all these different forms of family, which makes sense. But I mean, nomads could still have biological, descendants as part of their larger encompassing nomad clan or family or nation, right? It's
Oh
just
yeah, yeah.
amalgamations of different pockets of those established families that
In
have come
fact,
together.
then two different families, if there's a marriage in the middle, creates a different wider unit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a mix between the traditional concept of family and new concepts of family that are based on people gathering for a need of survival.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I love that idea.
Because the unity of family, in the end, of traditional family, are two people that are not related by blood.
Mm-hmm.
This is the unit of family. So the moment you can relate to one person to create this atom of model of family, you can relate to anyone. Because it's the way you gather in a way to create a unit that is the unit that a lot of those units is what society is composed of, and you unite to survive. So basically everyone you unite with to survive can turn out be your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone was saying that there was feedback in someone's mic. Has that been fixed?
Yeah, so it's feedback from like whenever it's this weird thing that Windows and especially like Microsoft settings and some like volume boosters will do when somebody's not talking on their end, it'll like boost the background volume of the noise to get higher and higher and higher and higher because they think you're talking quieter and quieter. And every once in a while it feeds into the recording audio by just becoming a loud white noise in the background. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I heard it for a brief second and then it went away.
Yeah, it's I think it's either on my side or Madqueen's side. On one of our settings has been
Now maybe
updated.
it's my fan.
Well, that's the white noise background, but it's like when you're talking, we don't hear it but then as soon as you stop talking and it just kind of like, and the mic is just kind of sitting there, it starts to amplify up because for some reason, and again, this is, I hate this issue. This is one of the most like frustrating issues of like doing any kind of like on call, like calling audio and YouTube work. Is it's been what the bane of my existence as far as that goes, because it's just this setting where it's like, it's the most people should know it by the microphone like auto adjustment, where just like automatically it keeps like raising the volume of your microphone or lowering it so that your voice is pretty much steady as far as volume goes. But there's also a setting that you can have in your speakers that will also do the same thing for whatever you're listening to, that'll just play with the volume and try to keep it at the same level so that you're not, you know, surprised by any particularly loud noises or quiet noises. And it's like, why anybody in their right mind thought this was a good idea for like audio recording equipment is beyond me. It is so frustrating. Like we had to like, I had to reinstall Windows to get rid of the Skype, because Skype was doing this on the side and it was doing it passively throughout the entire system. And so I had to go back, uninstall everything because I couldn't get rid of the registry file on the computer that was forcing it to do this. Oh, it was so annoying. And
sorry, I'll mute myself every time I'm not talking, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just I love how all these programs, like, because again, it's like, it wasn't even the program that we were using when Ash and I were having to deal with this. It was just the it was one of the other programs on the computer that was forcibly forcing Windows to do this. It was so annoying, so dumb. Why anybody would design a program like that?
Mm-hmm. So did we have the Netrunner news that we wanted to talk about?
Oh, we don't player? We didn't answer.
Oh wait, we didn't do the weapons
we
trailer.
didn't answer into Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny Silverhand, that too.
What did you think about whose apartment does he go? I believe he goes to Seabay's Best Isis. We didn't know anything about her in 2077.
Did we even see her? Even get a glimpse of her? I haven't gone frame by frame through that specific section, so maybe you guys saw something.
Not yet. I have to download Ali's version and start taking screenshots out of it to go frame by frame in 8K. But I'm still trying to figure out all the things that you don't need a frame by frame inspection, like whose apartment does he go? Because originally I thought, well, it's not his, because he left in Pacifica, and the ads outside of the apartment say that they are in the same year. They are in 2077, not before 2023. Mm-hmm. It can't be Carrie's because Carrie lives in a villa in North Oak in 2077. He doesn't live in an apartment. But there was a piano. And who plays the piano? Best Isis. It's the only person I can think of.
And it doesn't look like it would be in North Oak, because you can see the city pretty close in the background and through the windows.
Yes, and actually he lives in a villa. Not this looked like an apartment.
Huh.
But I'm not sure, because it seemed like Johnny had a body.
Johnny had a what? Sorry.
A body. He had the body.
Oh yes.
But the ads outside of the window say that we are in 2077. We are not before 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that at some point he gets his body back, or a clone of his body, or whatever?
Could this also just be done for the purpose of... No. That would be too simple, right? For the purpose of the trailer, just... It would have to have some in-world implications, right?
Yeah, well, I believe that everything that we saw in these trailers is everything cutscenes, in-game cutscenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, so maybe that hurts my original theory of like V is only there to be basically like taken over by Johnny at some point.
Yeah, but Johnny got his own body. I mean, he doesn't need B.
Mhm.
He can
Yeah.
have a clone.
Yeah, no, that was like my theory, like long time ago, when like over a year ago. It's kind of I was like, oh, I wonder if Johnny wants V for their body, but he's got to get them to like get them to a certain point or something like that first.
But he can get to clone. That I mean,
Yeah.
this body is used. It's used. It will have its flaws. It already has power. So it's more. It's
well, I mean, maybe he couldn't. Maybe he can't jump out of the chip. Maybe he's like maybe he's stuck in the chip, and he's got to whatever body he wants. He's got to have the chip in that body. So that was kind of my thought.
Where is it explicitly mentioned that this takes place in 2077 in the trailer? Is there a part where
it's mentioned, but out in the street, the commercials, the products that are advertised are the ones that are in 2077. One company doesn't advertise the same product for so many years.
Yeah, but there was even a screenshot in the lore book from 2031 or something like that, and they had the same ads. They had the Brain Dance, the Sasha Devon one. They had the Nicola Soda and Cirrus.
Where?
It's in the world book.
Do you remember where? Because I don't remember where.
I can find it. I need to find the page, but is it possible that those ads have just been completely?
Well, I mean, they could have accidentally reused them.
Maybe they are placeholders, and we're here creating theories about them.
Yeah,
that's also a big possibility.
But if you,
and there's some. I mean, you're gonna get some continuity errors typically. It's like my favorite thing to do in movies is to like watch for the continuity errors. So like, what was one of the best ones that I remember seeing is like, mom walks into the room, and the kid's just taking a bite out of a sandwich, and there's a bite hole in the sandwich. He puts it down. He does his lines. The camera cuts over to his mom again, then cuts back over to the kid, and the kid's sandwich is whole again. And it's like there's no bite mark out of the sandwich, and I'm like, yes, that's hilarious.
Madqueen, it's on page 14. It's at the bottom right. It says a makeshift barricade erected at night city limits during one of the many riots in 2021. It's actually 10 years earlier than I thought it was.
14, you say? 14?
14, yeah, page 14. It's the first page of the fourth corporate war. And they have the Cirrus ads. They have the 3 mouths, 1 desire. They have Nicola there. This looks like it's in Pacifica, possibly.
Oh, wait, no. 14, 18, 17, 14 here. Oh, but what you're showing me is concept art. It's not a screenshot from the game. It's concept art. Doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah, concept art is always
that's
like...
fair.
Concept art hasn't gone through the... Yeah, it hasn't gone through the continuity, like, double check. Like, it's only briefly been, like, checked for general continuity. And then after the fact, that's when you got to go through and tweak it all.
Okay, that's fair. I was just curious as to why this was in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, concept, I get that.
That's why I'm not counting. If it's concept art, it's supposed to recreate the mood and the shapes, not go so deep into the detail. But yeah.
Okay, well that puts a pin in that theory.
Anyway, I'm going to make a video about it because I'm talking about the life paths, and tomorrow the corporate. The next day I'm going to start with Johnny Silverhand. I didn't start doing the video yet, but then I'm going to go full analysis mode, and let's see if I can find out where is he and why he doesn't have a body. Well, find out. Make a theory about it, because I have thousands of theories. In fact, I read someone before say that one of my multiple theories that Takemura is actually Morgan Blackhand in disguise.
Oh, that's a good one.
And because
wait, we need to hear more about this one.
So this was one of the personal philosophies in life of Morgan Blackhand was his way of dressing. because it's something he thought this is a lesson he learned from the solos in Europe that are supposed to be, the best solos. And in Europe, solos are very concerned about the clothing. They say if you want a job, you have to dress like you already have the job, otherwise you won't get it. And this is something that Morgan Blackhand took to his heart, and he put a lot of effort in his clothing, and he made his clothing part of his personal brand. That's the thing. This person that we saw in this image where we thought it was Morgan Blackhand, that actually seems like Takemura if in the upscales that Annie did.
Yeah.
He seems Takemura, but he's dressing like Morgan Blackhand. And his clothing were his identity brand, more or less. And I found very interesting that, everybody that knows a little bit of the law, we saw him and we all thought that's Morgan Blackhand. We can't see his face, but that's how Morgan Blackhand dresses. And that was the way we all recognized, quote unquote, recognized, because we were wrong, that he was Morgan Blackhand. But I have millions of theories, so this one is just one of them.
My craziest theory is that we'll play through the game and then we'll realize that the game was actually a game being played by V in his apartment on his headspace thingy.
No, that would be super cheap. That would be something so cheap that I wouldn't expect the project Red to do it.
My craziest theory is that the game is not going to get delayed again. Ooh. Take that, doubters.
I like this. I like your theory. I really like it.
Yeah, the brain dance thing would seem kind of cheap. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, it definitely would be.
There's probably
that's why I said it's my craziest loophole theory that is definitely not coming true. That and it's just like it's actually it was either that or like it's like all these archaeologists from the future, from like thousands of years into the future, and they're all like trying to figure out what happened at Night City a long time in the past. It's,
that's another game. It's called Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. Well, and it's because of games like Horizon Zero Dawn and that idea why I routinely take anytime like my refrigerator goes or something like that, I take it out to the bush and I bury it in the ground so that future generations can find it and learn more about our culture.
This is also in a book. Everything is illuminated.
Yeah.
Also with Elijah Wood. Very good one. Very good film.
So weapons. Do we want to talk about those? And what was kind of covered there? Or are we done with the other one?
No, we're done with
that.
I'll do a video.
I've noticed that they do mention that there are certain weapons that have the ability to have their ammo swapped out for non-lethal rounds, so you basically just knock people out with them. And I'm wondering if they have that for the shotguns with like beanbags or something. That's kind of like bullets. Whenever I think non-lethal rounds, that's the first place my mind goes to is shotgun beanbags, because that's the first time that I encountered that kind of ammunition.
That would be hilarious.
Right?
Shotguns with non-lethal ammo. Yes, please. Maybe this is more for a comedy game, but yeah.
What if you have the ricochet mod as well? You get to see the beanbags bouncing all over the place.
Bouncing around all over the place. But it'll be kind of weird because I can't remember which ones came first. I'm very positive that beanbag shotguns were the first non-lethal rounds designed for civil service use, so like police usage. I don't think rubber bullets came around until much later down the road. And rubber bullets are like Oof, those things are not nice. Like you don't ever want to get hit by one of those.
Yeah, you can get pretty maimed with one of those.
Yep. Yep. Even though it's a rubber bullet. Beanbag shotguns, though, a lot less like they can give you like cracked ribs and stuff like that, but they don't routinely put out eyes or frag or crack bones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like arm bones and shoulder bones and collar, other things like that. So it's like, it'll be kind of interesting because again, I am very interested in this non-lethal playthrough. I'm really, really interested, and I think now, because originally I had assumed that the non-lethal playthrough would mean that you would never have to fire your weapon. But I think now what we can kind of see is that there probably be instances where you have to fire your weapon, but you can load them with non-lethal rounds. So you still will have to do some gunplay at the very least. Not everything you can talk your way out of, but that doesn't mean you have to splatter somebody's brains across the wall, so to speak, versus like just knocking them out with the guns and then leaving a giant like bouquet of flowers for them.
Maybe they have the equivalent of like a tranquilizer gun. Because like in the lore there was something called the power square which had like drugs and stuff in it. So maybe you can, if that's a possibility, that would be really cool. Just tranquilize
bunch of junkies lined up out of your apartment every day. Hey man, you're loaded with the squirt rounds. Yeah, I'm gonna steal your wallet. It's like, I don't have a wallet. It's all by chip now. Oh, well, you better shoot me because I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'm also very interesting to learn about the non-lethal playthrough. Yeah, I'm going to watch it on Twitch, definitely. Come on, laugh. It was good, see?
It was.
Madqueen's gonna be busy blowing off heads, and you're just gonna be like passively sneaking through the cracks and like making sure everyone feels okay, and then being non-lethal and being the nice Canadian that you are. And Madqueen's just gonna be blowing off heads and like sticking them on stakes and parading around them.
I'm not joking. This is something that is like in my wildest dreams.
You laugh about it, but I had problems with YouTube ages ago when I did my Fallout 4 building videos, because I did one video with decorating with corpses. So I went around the wasteland killing raiders and then, impaling them and putting them around for decoration.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah.
See, I would carry a little like mini inflatable like pillows, and every time I go in and clear a room out, I would with the non-lethal rounds, and they're all like laying all over the place. I'd line them up and put them like sleeping with their hands on their chests or like underneath the little pillows, and then there'd be a little plate with like little cookie or something like that, and it's like, you were knocked out by V. Don't cross me again, because next time, well, you won't want to see. Maybe I won't drop off the tea or something. Just something ridiculous, right? Because that kind of reaction is really funny. If I had a lot of money, I would definitely do that. Just watch everybody's like reaction when they wake up, tucked into bed and whatnot.
Sorry.
I know. It's a slumber party. It's a giant slumber party.
Genocide.
It's so good.
Does anyone know if the clown face guys in the wire are bozos? They don't explode. If they were bozos and they didn't explode, that would be my personal continuity mistake. Bozos explode. That's the thing about the bozos, that they are really scary for what they can do to you. And in the gameplay, V was killing them happily. Like, oh, come on.
If those were the bozos, that was a pretty underwhelming first shot at the bozos. They just pop up on screen and you're just slaughtering all of them. Don't you think for like such an iconic gang, they would have a little bit more of a intro towards them?
100%.
Yeah.
I want them. And I'm very serious. I want them to have their own expansion that would hopefully come around probably like Halloween next year. Like, oh, that would be so good to have like just this entire like, and it's the entire story is like V goes out to drink and gets what's it called when you, anyways, he gets knocked out by whatever, he drinks something or whatever, and he wakes up inside like literally this like insane asylum or like, you know, previous like fairground or whatever, and it's just been taken over, and he's got to deal with like one bozo thing after another, like all ending with like a giant boss fight with some giant floating clown head thing that's
the great bozo
rigged up. Like, yeah, it's just like something absolutely kooky crazy like that, but also like kind of sort of serious. Like that would be great. That would be awesome.
But also as Neo said, the Great Bozo is it's an iconic character that it's I believe impossible that it's the same Great Bozo than in the 20s, this Arasaka guy. But I mean, making him also a similar story like in the 20s can be super funny. But he's a very iconic character. I believe that if Bozos are around, they deserve a better introduction than happily killing them.
Yeah, and when we first see those glitchy digital mask guys, if you look in the back, it has scavenger graffiti on how to harvest organs from their patients and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that they're scavengers, and I think a lot of other people think that they're scavengers, just because they're so frequent around all over the place too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, maybe where there can be different gangs of scavengers.
Yeah.
Maybe the scavenger became a type of gang.
Yeah. Also a possibility.
So,
they are just DJs. They are DJs. Okay, I like this theory. I keep it. They may be DJs.
Yeah, they're just there for the music. That's actually a really good one. I like that one too. That was Nodbert. Good job, Nodbert. I love it.
Do the DJs even use weapons?
Yeah, auditive weapons. You give them any instrument, you can run away because they're going to destroy your ears. They're going to kill you with the worst music that you ever heard.
Okay.
I mean, it's getting kind of close now. See, I have this desire to like play through like an RPG where you do like interpretive dance as your like main like form of battle. And has anybody seen the one episode of Final Space season 2 where he fights the bears with dance? Like that would be. I want to see that as a game. I don't know how much I play it, but just having it there as a game would be hilarious. Jonathan Wow. I cannot pronounce Wow. Sorry if we butchered your last name there. The glitch face guys are scavs. You can see body parts and blood in the room. On the wall it says keep donors sedated. Keep donors. I love that. Scavengers call their victims donors. Thank you for the super chat. And yes, that's
probably the most.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's so weird that they talk about them as donors, right? Like, like I mean,
it's not weird at all. It's not.
No,
weird
it's not weird
because people needs a way to dehumanize the people that they torture. They are not going to refer to them as. This is also that happens to mainstream media as well. Here in Spain, for instance, we had a wave of little children that came from third world countries, but they are children and they are alone. Their parents died in trying to get to the country, and all media calls them a name that is not children, that tries to make people forget that they are children. And this is the way they call them donors, to forget that they are innocent people that they are killing, they are chopping for parts.
Well, I believe there's a particular government that is currently doing that with their totally normal and natural causes of death for their organ donor program that they have over there, which we won't get into. But yeah, it's stuff like that where it's like it's truly shocking, right? Because it's like, what's the difference between some of these people and these scavengers in the video game? Like really,
pretty much nothing.
Like, really?
No.
Like,
No,
Anyway, sorry, we don't want to get political, and that's a very, very hot topic issue. So, anything else as far as weapons go?
Political about a very specific country. I believe that everybody it's the only instance where everybody agrees with you.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, except for the NBA and a couple other people. Did I say NBA? I meant NDA, the NDA organization, the NDA organization. Yes,
Okay,
that's the one.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. So is there any other bit on the weapons that anybody noticed anything in particular? I do want to comment on what Tost said in an interview shortly. He said that
You go to that. I'd like to comment something that goes. It's related to weapons and goes directly to that, which are the neural linked weapons.
Mm-hmm.
The smart weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I always call them for the old name translated into Spanish.
Same thing.
Because I got used to play Cyberpunk 2020 in Spanish. Then sometimes I translate from Spanish to English the names, but they completely changed. Also, the 2020 Spanish version is known for having the worst translation ever. But yes, Cyberpunk 2077 is an RPG and not a shooter. If you don't want to go through the shooting part with the difficulties of a shooting part, if it's not your type of game, we already know that we had the smart link weapons, where you had automatic aiming, then you kill people and count out the people for that.
See, I want a weapon that talks to me. I want a sidearm that talks to me in the voice of an old British guy. Hello, sir. Would you like me to blow this person's head off? Side secondary wound damage sustained. Please ensure the victim is down. Double tap. Remember, something like that, or like a really like spunky like young female voice, which I totally can't.
You want
for my
Johnny
SMG.
You want Johnny talking to you and this dude at the same time, and this weapon at the same time? Aren't you gonna go
all
crazy?
my weapons. I want like a really like big sounding like a Russian guy to be the bazooka, right? Because that would just be like fire in the hole, that kind of stuff would just be great on top of it.
I feel like that's more borderline.
Comedy format to take.
I know, right? But no, Tost was so just one thing on the weapons is like Tost was talking about the weapons and how how smooth everything is, and he had this one line that where people are talking about like they're talking about stuff, and it's been a little misquoted, I think, is like the quote unquote surface level issues. That's what he said is quote surface level issues. Not issues, surface level assessment is what he said, and some people have been kind of translating that in some of these articles to say surface level issues. So I don't think that was a very like accurate interpretation of what he was saying or a proper quote. I think the full quote, I believe, is I think some people look at this game and think, oh man, it's a first person and it has guns, it's a shooter, and that's a very surface level assessment. So just that's the actual quote.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to tie that into the weapons because there's been a lot of complaints about how the gunplay works and how the melee works, and the melee, again, I've made this point a number of times and I'll reiterate it. There's not much they could do to make an amazing first-person melee combat game, because very few people have ever managed to do that, and there's nothing that's truly like been groundbreaking in that department for a very, very long time. So it's not something that is like you're asking them to like completely reinvent the wheel and add levitation properties to it at the same time. It's like I don't think we're going to get that, and I think it's a little disingenuous for some people to be focusing on that so much. So again, it's like the issue that I have with the melee combat is that it is first person, and that it would be better to go into a third person camera when you're doing melee, because you open up the opportunities to do so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
And and again, that's just a generalized assessment. It's not a targeted critique in general. It's like, yes, I would prefer that, but if that's not there, then that's not there, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But just generally speaking, there are a lot of people who again are continuing to complain about the how the gunplay looks, and it's like, this isn't the super smooth shooter that is in comparison to like COD.
I
It's
mean,
like,
I'm
well,
pretty surprised that people. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be pockets of people who are complaining, but I think the
mm-hmm,
gunplay looks much better than what we've seen in the past.
mm-hmm.
This looks on par
Well,
with like a AAA shooter, in my opinion, and I play a lot of them.
yeah, and I mean, it looks decent, great as, and sure, there's like a I would say it's like a 2 to 5% like quality drop in comparison.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, that really does kind of devolve down to like stylistic choice and
Mm-hmm.
kind of how it looks. When I see this, I get a little bit more, and I don't know, maybe like I didn't play a lot of it, but the combat and the gunplay do remind me of Wolfenstein for some reason. Whenever I see it, I think Wolfenstein. I don't think like Doom or COD. Whenever I look at it, I'm thinking Wolfenstein for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's everybody's thoughts on that. I would love to hear them, because it's like, what is this gunplay reminiscent of? Is it more that it's like, are you wanting it to be more like a COD, or are you wanting it to be more like a different game that you can think of? Like, what's that one perspective that people are interested when it does come down to the actual like
Mm-hmm.
combat like stuff?
I
Like, what
think
would you
I
rather
think a
play
lot,
it like?
I think a
But
lot of people have compared it to Wolfenstein, as well as Rage and Destiny. I think were the two other
Mm-hmm.
most common comparisons, which is all good in my book. Those are some great
Mm-hmm.
comparisons to have, right? To be in that kind of company is awesome. So I'm happy with what I've seen, to be honest with you guys, and it's only going to improve, right? They're only going to tweak. The melee looks significantly better than what we saw in the 25-minute B-roll, and they're not done with that. They're not 100% happy. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, when it comes to gunplay, it's all a matter of what type of game we're talking about, because the action of a Doom, for instance, is not the thing in a game like Cyberpunk. It's more tactical, more like a
Yeah.
Wolfenstein or a Deus Ex.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not going to be taking too much. I'm not going to be doing too much of the shooting. I'm going to try and come up with the best like miniature like stealth mode thing that I can come up with.
Hmm.
So
I
yeah,
think in recent memory, the most fun I've had with gunplay in a single player game was probably Borderlands. Now, I
hmm,
doubt it's going to be as zany and out of the box as Borderlands, but and even though those guns were like they were what's the word? They weren't handcrafted, right?
hmm,
So these are being handcrafted, and if it plays somewhat similar to Borderlands, I'll be happy.
yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. What's the thoughts on bullet sponginess? What's everybody thinking? Thoughts about that right now?
It's very difficult because we don't know exactly
Yeah,
the reality of the level of how realistic this is when you play on average level or hard level or easy level.
yeah,
What I mean.
yeah,
So there are certain things that you can watch them on gameplays, but it's not until you touch them and you do them that you cannot really have an opinion.
Hmm. I think Kapala, the gameplay designer, who was featured in Night City Wire 2, I think he said when it comes to bullet sponginess, you're gonna go down pretty quickly, and your enemies are gonna go down pretty quickly, assuming you are around their level or similar,
yeah,
yeah, similar level. But you're gonna obviously have those higher tiered enemies who are gonna take a little bit more punishment, but they want the visual feedback for you pumping some bullets into somebody to feel like they're not just tanking all those bullets, right?
yeah,
They're gonna fall over, they're gonna limp, they're gonna have all these reactions to your damage that will make them seem less bullet spongy while at the same time still like honoring the fact that they're an elite enemy. So I think
I'm hoping. Yeah, me personally, I'm hoping that we have a little bit of bullet sponginess there, because that's just the way that I prefer, especially RPG shooters. Like, I don't want to empty 3 clips into a standard enemy. That I think is way too much. But I really dislike, I really dislike the games where it's like guys in full tactical body armor, reinforced spectral lining with extra layers of what's that new body armor called?
he's got his long johns on underneath.
It's the fibrous metal armor. It's a thing, and it's like no, it's like a metal fiber type stuff that's really good. It's kind of newish, but it's like you have a guy decked out in this, and you take him out with 2 shots with a pistol. It's like, I mean, it's just, I really don't like that. And especially when they bother to, like, gear up that much, it's like, you might as well be naked at that point. You might as well just be running around in a t-shirt and jeans, because it's like if one like shoulder wound from a pistol kills you when you have 3 inches of armor on, then what's the armor for? Like, and that's the thing that's always driven me nuts about a lot of shooter games, where it's like, I mean, yeah.
I think there's a lot more leeway with this in this game though, because you're mentioning t-shirt and jeans, and you can probably pump somebody who's wearing a t-shirt and jeans with a lot of bullets, but then you realize that they have subdermal armor, right? So it fits into that universe a lot better in that sense.
And I mean, even in, like, the thing that I hate with COD games is like headshots. It's like headshot. Somebody shoots a person in the head and they instantly go down. It's like only like threaded or like high caliber like rifles could go through World War II American and German helmets. Like 9mm bounce right off those helmets. Like, sure, if you start to get like a dent in them, sure, it would stop it. But I mean, most American ones, it's like, what is it? It's like it's enough that they, in some cases, they stop 45s. It's like that clearly it shouldn't be where it's just like headshot win. And I don't like shooters because of that kind of aspect where they're like, oh, just land a headshot and it's fine. It's like, now this is why we have like armor, and you want that realism. But then it's kind of weird. Like I've seen people like take like 8-9 bullets and be like totally fine, like recovery in less than a month. And then other people, it's like they get nicked by like a low caliber one and they die. It's really obviously it's kind of weird. And obviously when you're doing a shooter game, that there's some oddities to that. But yeah, it's something that I think that I hope they get right, because again, I understand people who hate like doing like 2-3 clips into a standard enemy before they go down. I get that, but I also really dislike it where it's like one shot kills everybody. It's like, especially if it's a headshot, it's like, ugh.
If the kill time is close to what we saw in the B-roll, I'll be happy with that. And I want the enemies to have a higher potential for lethality too. So you have to use that cover because they have the soft cover system, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be able to tank a bunch of bullets, there's no point in using that. You can just dash around or just run around and strafe and shoot at your enemies and take them down. So if you're forced to use that a little bit, then that's cool.
Yeah. So absolutely. Say they say, that's their name. Ken and a bunch of others in the chat. You guys got it right. Croz was mentioning the Division games are definitely like the bullet sponginess. I get those ones. Like some of that stuff was way too much. But yeah.
No, I think they're looking good so far.
So yeah, I mean, just So I think that it's all looking great, and the complaints that some people are bringing up are really, 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 to borrow what Toss said, are actually kind of surface level issues.
Yeah.
Like, and these are things that, I mean, people will be able to customize very quickly in the game. I feel that that'll be pretty easy to customize that pretty early on through mods and stuff like that, where if you do want it to be a little bit more bullet spongy, I'm sure there'll be a mod for that pretty early on, because I think those things tend to be pretty easy to do. So it'll be interesting. I'm very, again, really love the way that the game is going. Everything is going is moving pretty smoothly and pretty good. So
yeah, Barrett says, like, I kind of think people are nitpicking at this game. That's exactly what it is, because there's so much good going on here that to obviously people are going to be critical. They're going to say what they need to say, but I think at this point, if you're going to critique the game, you have to be really dialed in on what exactly you're talking about.
Right. So.
Jim is asking about ammo rarity. Do you think that will be in the game, because there's different types of...
I haven't... Has anybody seen how ammo actually works in the game yet? Has anybody, like, really gone through that? And, like, do you just pick it up, or does it, like...
There are loot boxes that drop that have ammo, which is one thing I actually don't like. I think that's kind of jarring when you kill somebody and a big chunk of loot box falls out of their body. But I do not know how that works beyond that. I know there's there's thermal ammunition and all the different types of ammo, but I'm not sure how that's distributed. And then you have the tech, smart, and power, right? So do they use the same type of ammunition? Likely not.
Right.
So that's one thing that might worry me, having to scavenge the ammo like that, and then beyond having 4 bullets in the chamber for the entire game, or at least in the beginning, right? When it's harder.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how that works so far. Be interested to know.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I'm really, really curious to see where that goes. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Any questions? And I would also, any questions? And what was the other thing that there was some...
Night City Wire 2, then you had the Miles Tossed thing that you already mentioned, right?
Yeah, sorry, no, number 3. Any idea when we're going to get episode 3?
Ooh.
Like right now, I want to make this clear, these are ballpark guesses. Like there is no inside nothing going on here. We're just guesstimating. Yeah. I suspect that we're going to get one in September, and then probably another one in October. So I think they're going to try probably for 4, because again they don't want to
Because Holly mentioned at the end of this episode, the last episode, that there will be episodes of Night City Wire, but if you look on their site, they only have 1 slot remaining for Night City Wire episode 3. So does that mean we're going to get multiple or just 1? I think if it's 1, we're going to have to wait maybe another month and a half. If it's 2, probably split that in half, right?
Yeah,
like you said.
Like, I think maybe 3 main issues, but then I think that they'll probably have some kind of a big launch event or event kind of like leading right up to launch. That would be really interesting. So.
Yeah.
But, there's. Yeah, so the CDPR is saying, there's still some work to be done on melee combat. But again, it's like, don't expect this to go to be very far out. It's like melee combat is just like you have to, in order to like have what I think they're going for. It's like I think you have to have it as a VR game only. I think you have to have that. Otherwise, you're just not going to. It's just not gonna flow right. It's not gonna flow in the way that some people think that, because there are some people who, I was talking with somebody the other day and they were saying, oh no, you can totally do like grapples and holds and rolls in first person. And I'm like, in first person without a VR set? I mean, well, even then VR that would like, you can't do rolls in VR. It's like
you would throw up.
Yeah, well, throw up, or you'd be like tumbling around or tripping over yourself, or something's got to give, right? And so yeah, I'm not positive. I'm really not positive where that's kind of like coming out at, and where that'll ultimately end up hitting off. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna love to see those VR mods that inevitably come out after, because one of them is gonna be like really good. That's actually playable, and people are gonna be. I mean, this is the top tier game that people want to play in VR.
Yep.
So
And that's the that person calling you about your social security number.
I'm getting
They're
beta
like,
access,
hey,
guys.
yeah, beta access. Just hand over all your personal deets. Yeah, alrighty.
I think that's about it.
I agree. Ken stating that melee was pretty decent in Fear. I seem to remember that it was not bad, but again, it's like it's that, or it's like Jedi Knight Academy. And again, if you haven't played Jedi Knight Academy, like give that a roll as far as like melee combat goes, because you really see what you can do there in a system that's designed for it, and I would love to see. And again, that game was built on the concept that it was a shooter, and they just took the melee combat side of things, the lightsaber combat, and they really boosted that through the roof. But yes, actually, Block 6, you bring up a good point. Skyrim had bad combat. Yeah, it had bad combat, but it was really fun to play, and people are still playing that game a lot because of how much fun they had just doing stuff, even though the combat systems were kind of janky. So you don't always have to have super smooth, super clean, super perfection. Sometimes you just have to make something that's fun. So that's hopefully where they're at. So
I'm sure most people's most favorite games have some glaring flaws, right?
Yeah.
That nostalgia probably blinds them towards, which is fine, right? Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
So, yeah. Anyways, all right. Any last things to add here? It's getting kind of warm here, so I think this is probably a good time to kill it. Madqueen, are you alive in the heat over there?
I'm sorry. I had to go outside for a bit because I was melting, and I need to have the windows closed during the podcast because there's too much noise outside. So yeah, melting.
Any last things to add?
No.
Okay. Neon?
No, not really. Just looking forward to episode 3. I think they mentioned that we're gonna hear a little bit about radio stations. I'm assuming we'll get a bit more than that, but yeah,
I'm
looking
hoping
forward
so.
to 3.
Yeah, and I believe is it me or they Holly hinted something about the previous version of Chipping In.
I must have
think
missed that.
so.
I must have missed that. A lot of people want the 2018 version. I think that's pretty stacked in 2018's favor. That people like that Chipping In version better.
Well, the version was good. The only problem with it is that it didn't fit in the scene of the law that it happens. But if they find another excuse to put it, then great. Because the song is great.
Yeah.
But obviously they need to find an excuse because the quote-unquote official version is the one by Refused.
That's true.
But doing covers is something that is usually done in the real world, and it can be done in the world of Cyberpunk. A later band can do a cover of Chipping In.
Yeah, or it could have just been one of their first iterations of the song.
Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to, if you haven't already, go, and I know this is on our channel, if you haven't already, go check out Cyberpunk NPC Romance tier list that Ash did the other day. It's probably one of the funniest videos he's done. So check that out. It was pretty brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that feedback. There's that feedback again. Sorry about that, guys. Guys and
Yeah,
gals.
sorry, it's my cat. I am so sorry. But
Yeah.
if
Oh
I
yes.
put it
Oh
on,
yes.
die. Yeah, I know it's my fault. I'm terribly sorry, but if I don't put it on, I die. And I don't want to die. I'm too young for that. I want to play Cyberpunk.
It's not too loud. You're fine.
Right. So, alrighty. Yes. Block 6. You do get better in combat the more you play. So that's an interesting mechanic. It's something that we're really excited for. Moontag is very, very excited for that. So because it's not a system that you get typically in a lot of games. So I'm excited to check that out. So yeah, alrighty. Well, thank you for tuning in. It is now hitting almost record heat here. I am going to take off and have some ice cream, and I believe a couple of you are going to do that as well. So have a good one, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.